Thank you for watching this presentation on Hardware Independent Imaging Solution by Altrinsic Solutions. A Hardware Independent Deployment Initiative, or HIIS initiative, is one of the most challenging and necessary tasks for an organization to take on. Regardless of the approach, whether it's manually engineered scripting, combination utilities, or a purpose solution like HIIS, 4 different phases must be handled. The first is an analysis. In the analysis, it is of course crucial to understand what models exist, but even more important are the variations in the model. Consider a situation where we have 2 different systems, the same model, perhaps ordered for different roles. One has a different video card upgraded, another has a different SATA controller, a SCSI controller instead of the standard disk controllers, modems, network cards. Typical PCs have 70 to 100 or more devices on board, many of them requiring different drivers. The different variations are almost impossible for human engineering to analyze and to build into your HIIS system, but at the same time, the quality and effectiveness of the hardware independent deployment system is going to directly relate on that analysis and how it's integrated into the process. So you can only trust that process to the extent that your analysis was complete and the results are integrated and continually updated. The next phase is collection of drivers. Where are we going to get drivers for all the systems and all the models and variations of models, and how do we maintain that and keep it fresh when we purchase new models? How difficult is it going to be to integrate drivers into the HIIS system, and what about changes to hardware in our existing deployed systems? Those systems might need to be re-imaged for a tech refresh to give to a different user, or for a server to be reprovisioned for a different purpose, or any of them for an operating system refresh or upgrade. Even though it's tremendously time consuming to do this, it must be done because failure for the HIIS process to support it means that users, help desk tech support staff, and others have to clean it up PC by PC, and that's certainly not the way to go. The third phase of a HIIS initiative is the integration phase. What's going to be the approach? A fat image with all the drivers stuffed into it? How much updating is that going to take? What about a script if this model, then use that driver pack? Is that going to handle all the model variances? How are we going to integrate it with our deployment tool? And how much effort and time is this going to all take? Typically months. It often takes months and sometimes years in large organizations to deploy a HIIS process, and it's quite labor intensive to maintain it. Even then, there are many weaknesses. One is it's often tied to specific personnel to maintain and establish the process. What happens if they're no longer available? The final phase of any hardware independent deployment initiative is the maintenance process, and over time it's the most extensive and expensive. How are we going to handle the new models? How easy is it to update the process for patches so that we don't have to remediate the systems we deploy? What about new devices introduced to systems out there? Are we handling those? What if we don't? What if they need to be redeployed? Should we attempt to handle these things? And if we don't, who has to spend the time fixing the systems that have been deployed? And then finally, what about new operating systems? Do they mean we have to throw away the process we built? All of these things conspire together to erode the hardware independent deployment system. That's one of the reasons it's so labor intensive to establish and maintain it. Historically that's been true, but there is a better way. Hardware Independent Imaging Solution, or HIIS, integrates natively with Altiris Semantic Deployment Server. It can be launched right from the Deployment Server console. Once launched, you'll notice that Hardware Independent Imaging Solution arranges its 4 tabs around the 4 distinct phases of hardware independent deployment: analysis, collection, integration, and maintenance. The first tab provides a powerful set of analysis tools and will allow you for the first time ever to see exactly how many distinct hardware platforms you have in your environment and which models those fall under. We'll see this Optiplex 260 here, in fact, has 30 different types. It also provides powerful comparison tools where you can see why different compatibility classes underneath a model are different. We'll go ahead and take a look at 15 versus 16 and find out that in fact these 2 systems, although the same exact model, are in fact different hardware platforms. They have different devices requiring different drivers on board and need to be treated as separate platforms. Hardware independent imaging solution will also give you the ability to tell which groups and models are ready for deployment. We can see that this model group is completely ready for deployment. This one is partially ready with some compatibility classes having drivers and some still merely awaiting collection. HIIS will allow the collection of drivers simply by clicking the Auto button, which will go down through the complete compatibility class stack. I only have a few systems in my demo, but it will get a full listing in a production environment and allow you to choose one system from every class, whether there's one system or 500 systems within the class, to represent that class from a driver collection standpoint. On the Collect tab, HIIS makes it very easy to select a system and collect drivers from it. We'll go ahead and collect the drivers off this XP system, and you can see the end user sees no difference whatsoever. The machine remains fully usable to them, although drivers are being copied off and streamed back to the hardware independent imaging server. In this way, you can quickly collect all the needed drivers for your environment and or supplement them with drivers downloaded from a device manufacturer's website, and that's whether they come in a drop-in or plug-and-play format or an executable format. So HIIS can handle both formats of drivers in addition to collected drivers, and gives you powerful driver management tools. Here we can see the collected driver manager that allows you to see exactly which drivers are assigned to a particular class and manage that. You can assign driver upgrades in a modular fashion, like Legos, click drivers on and off different classes. You can also get full driver details as to different versions, what PCI device IDs a particular driver applies to, and what date the driver is. The integration functions allow you to select options and export a job natively into the deployment server that can be used when systems are deployed with that. It blends together the jobs assigned to that model or class and even provides powerful options for initial deployment of bare bones systems. It's compatible with all automation environments supported by the Altiris deployment solution system and gives you the options to create an image in an automated fashion if you need to rebuild your template image, perhaps to update it for patches. It's very easy to do, and it even includes features to embed those hard to handle SATA SCSI mass storage controllers. Finally, HIIS allows you to schedule an automated maintenance cycle that will look through the deployment server environment for any hardware changes and collect the required drivers, as well as new PCs. Simply add the deployment server agent to a new PC. When it shows up in deployment server, HIIS will recognize that on the maintenance cycle and categorize the system, or if it's a new platform, gather the required drivers. In summary, HIIS brings completely new levels of automation technology to the hardware independent deployment challenge, bringing native DS integration, the ability to quickly deploy new models, automated handling for specialized mass storage controllers, powerful device-based analysis, and automated image packing and repacking to update it for patches and other items. Peripheral non-OEM device handling. No more is your deployment capabilities limited to the OEM set of drivers for a model. Universal driver repository with powerful GUI management tools, application slipstreaming, and easy central driver upgrades. To find out more about HIIS, contact your Semantic sales team or partner. You can also email us at info@altrinsixsolutions.com or visit our website where you can watch our in-depth video demo series, technical how-to video series, access the HIIS forum, or obtain trial versions of hardware independent imaging solution. Thanks from Altrinsic Solutions.